mountains and 8 seas make one world. 1,000 worlds make one chiliocosm. One chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
What is Gucci YouTube? Yes, sir, ski. First video, first post of the year. Now, towards the end of 2023, it got a little hectic in terms of my vocals, in terms of the ability I was able to, let me not even cap, bro. I was sick a little bit, probably like January 1st, 2nd, but honestly, I don't know, bro. I ain't even finna say too much stuff came up. It's really just like, I was like, and I was just like, you know what I'm saying? But hey, look, man, I need to get out of that slump. But happy New Year's. I hope y'all enjoyed your holidays. And the first video of the year, first topic I've been wanting to discuss about. I've been thinking about this topic since last year. Crazy, I'm finally able to get it off my chest. Boom, ching. Hey, gotta get a New Year joking. But been thinking about this video since last year, and I'm like, you know what? Let me go ahead and give it to y'all, bro. Pause. The SHINJU and the Otsutsuki. It's a never-ending question, and it's something that's on everybody's mind. It's something that you've asked at one point, whether you're the greatest analytic for anime, Naruto, Boruto, or you just the casuals of casual fans. You look at the story, you see them, and you ask either, wow, so who or what are they, or how are they any different from the Otsutsuki? So I don't feel like I can come on here and just give y'all a definite answer and break it down for y'all piece by piece and let you know, okay, according to Black Uchiha words, this is this, so that is that. But what I can do is go over everything we know about the SHINJU and about the Otsutsuki, not just from Boruto story, but also throughout Naruto, right? The original series. So let's just look at everything that we have. Starting off with the name, right? The SHINJU. We know the SHINJU it has many names. It's known as the God Tree. It's known as the Divine Tree, right? Kurama even gave it this whole little mini thing. Like, it's known as like a god of, like, you know what I'm saying, destruction and stuff. It's just a whole bunch of things. It's like an accumulation of everything. It's accumulation of chakra. That's how Naruto was described to it by Kurama in the original series when Kurama was breaking down the existence of the Divine Tree. So we know that it translates to Divine Tree, it translates to God Tree. SHINJU, they're called the SHINJU. And for me, I feel like, especially with the recent, you know what I'm saying, discussions around the community, that we kind of tend to forget that when we look at these SHINJUs, they are already said, you know, goal that, you know, the Otsutsuki have multiple come to Earth in order to, you know what I'm saying, complete, that we've seen Kage actually go through and follow through with, that we've seen Ishiki wait relentlessly and endlessly on actually completing, which is to plant a divine tree and actually ultimately sprout out a chakra fruit. Now, these four, Jura, Matsuri, Hidari, and everybody's calling him Bug, they already said it themselves. Boruto already confirmed it, right? They're divine trees, but what the thing is with them, they're not simple divine trees. They're divine trees that are cloned from humans that the claw grimes eventually devoured, sucked the chakra out of, and produced a whole new entity out of such. That's what we know about these four up until this point. And everything else, all of the outside factors that come into it. Everything that we have with Cole's genetics, his blood, his chakra, from Shibai cells to the claw grimes to the teleportation claw mark jutsu, right? We see that these claw marks have the ability to use Code's jutsu. And that's a whole nother interesting thing right there on that fact, right? But they have the Rinnegan, which we know from every 10 tails that we've seen has had a Rinnegan of some sort, of some variation in its eye, in its head. So they have the Rinnegan, and they have this type of pale, or what we led to believe, some type of pale or, you know, gray, scaly skin. I would like to think their skin was probably more similar to that of Obito or Madara upon their transformations, right? So now we've said all that, and we know what the Otsutsuki are, right? The Otsutsuki, right, which is different from the SHINJU. Their whole thing is to produce a SHINJU, or at least to sprout a Shinju in order to produce a chakra fruit. Now, the main difference between the Shinju that we know and love, right, and the Shinju that we see currently in the story is the thing of this character Code that everybody has been making fun of since the beginning of times in terms of Boruto's story, right? But Code done something very peculiar with the Shinju in said story that causes for a different development that we're actually used to. So upon a Ten Tails eating an Otsutsuki, this is when the Ten Tails turns into a divine tree. So just to jump back a little bit, we have the basis where we have a Ten Tails, we have an Otsutsuki, and then we have the final or one of the final products, which is a divine tree. Now we understand that these four beings are already said divine trees. Well, in order to get to that last part, you have to get the first part, which is the Ten Tails, to eat the second part, which is the Otsutsuki, in order to turn into the third part. So essentially, the essence, or at least what we know to be the essence of a divine tree, is the combination of a Otsutsuki and the Ten Tails coming together automatically to produce some type of entity that can accumulate all chakra and all life on said planet in order to produce said chakra fruit. So we know the combination of those two automatically lead into the divine tree, which automatically results into the creation of a chakra fruit. Now, these are already divine trees with, normally a little subservient, a little different, a little curve on the process in terms of becoming a divine tree, which leads to a little curve in the process of their development and their ego, which we see now. Code implemented his DNA, implemented his blood, implemented his chakra. We know chakra is a connecting binding force. We're not going to go through everything that Naruto has taught us about the binding essence, of chakra. So we understand, right? Chakra ninshu, the connection of all things, right? So Code shared this connection of all things from within his own body to the Ten Tails that already attains Shibai cells, right? That already has the claw marks, which is a Shinjutsu said to believe either by Shibai or just we know it's a known Shinjutsu in terms of Code's case. So they have these abilities. It's not far-fetched to believe that the DNA of Shibai, the DNA of Code, somehow the essence of the karma seal, the failed white karma that Code has, implementing all of that, molding the Ten Tails into a different way that it's already been molded, allowed the Ten Tails to take matters into his own hands once enough time has passed and enough requirements have met. We know these clawgrams come across people, they bite them, they turn into a pseudo divine tree. Now, you replace those people that have been bitten. Now, for example, let's take Moegi and Sasuke and turn them into Otsutsuki, and then they were bitten by a clawgram. I believe a much more greater effect would occur where maybe, possibly, one clawgram is able to produce a full divine tree that we've seen and that we know of to be in terms of once it devours Otsutsuki. So by example, if Kawaki was to get bitten in the village during the first chapters of Two Blue Vortex, a divine tree would probably sprout, or at least a taller one compared to the ones that we've seen outside the village, reaching all the way up into the pinnacle of the sky in order to have that bud where we see the fruit will eventually come out. But being that that isn't the case, that Sasuke is in an Otsutsuki, being that Moegi is in an Otsutsuki, and being that essentially the first thing, Code already changed the essence of these beings. Once they go about their regular process of biting and devouring and looking for Otsutsuki, they understand things aren't actually always how it seems, or not necessarily they understand for that matter, but the normal cycle and, nature of things tend to change in that order. Now, with all of these special requirements being met, some being left out, some being altered, some being combined, and some being tweaked, we ultimately have the result of a Shinju being born, but in a different type of way, right? So now we understand the main body of the Ten Tails was there the midst of everything going down. Sasuke got devoured over like 3 or 2 years ago at the very least. So we can say, or it's safe to assume, that the main Ten Tails somehow is like a link for all of the clawgrams. As much as Code can somehow signal or control them to the degree that he's able to because of his connection with the DNA genetics and chakra connection that he gave to the Ten Tails, the main body of the Ten Tails at the very least should be able to at least sense, understand, or be able to adapt to the things that its clawgrams are going around and encountering. Similar to how Naruto can use a shadow clone, that shadow clone can go off and fight Madara in the 4th grade ninja war, gets pummeled, but automatically the original Naruto in less than a split second got all of the knowledge and experience attained by that Naruto that fought Madara, ended up ultimately dying. So in a similar case where maybe where all of these clawgrams, the ones who get sliced down, the ones who end up making it, the ones who survive, tribe, the ones who turn into pseudo-divine trees after devouring a human. All of this knowledge is accumulating back to the main Ten Tails body, and it hit a point in time where one of the events that occurred in chapter 1 or chapter 2 triggered the Ten Tails body to finally have its requirement met, to where it's used the rest of its ability, rest of its power to turn its main body into said 4 Shinjus, dividing the power accordingly, right? Long story short, Black Uchiha, basically, what are you trying to get at? These things are special. We already know that. Long story short, these things are the Ten Tails, right? Including with everything that Code done to it. Just take it as is. That is what this Ten Tails is. That is what this Ten Tails accumulates to, right? So once this type of Ten Tails comes across a human in form of a Clogon, devours it, turns it to that pseudo divine tree, is able to take that knowledge, that data, that experience, and do with it as necessary in terms of, okay, I can't make a full divine tree with it, though it started the process because it devoured a human. It sucked its chakra. That's not the chakra of an Otsutsuki. Accumulating all of these humans' chakras, though, probably can take enough time. Maybe you can combine enough of them and use one host or use one example, or, you know what I'm saying, that a Clogon fought as a, you know what I'm saying, as a basis for the creation. So that's why we get a Clogon that looks like Moegi, or we get a Shinju that looks like Sasuke, because it's accumulation of all of the things, but one of them is always going to be focused on a basis that, you know what I'm saying, a Clogon ended up devouring. The result, these things are Shinju in the essence of the process that it went through in order to become what it is, but in a sense that a Shinju that a chakra fruit can grow off of is something that we're already straying from, because it's something completely different. So now, what would it actually, you know what I'm saying, produce? What is it going to procure? What is it going to do? Now, I would be led to believe that instead of, you know, these divine trees, right, eventually becoming what it does, become a divine tree. And then what does it do once it becomes a divine tree? Suck all chakra on the planet. Now, instead of us seeing a long stem with a bud on top waiting for a fruit to appear, the Ten Tails essentially humanized itself with the same power accumulation and with the same goal of sucking all of this chakra that's around us in order to produce the final product. Now, in this case, would the final product be a chakra fruit as we see in a regular divine tree? Or since these are special because of the reasons as explained in this video, would it be a final form? Would it be more ego being awakened? Or would it be something completely different that we aren't even going to expect, right? Because we know that at the process that we understand, since the creation of the story, these are already divine trees. So this is going to be something even different. And they're already different than the divine trees that we already know of. So because the processes were set different, we shouldn't expect the same type of chakra fruit that we would normally expect from a divine tree from these 4 separate Shinju here. So like I said, possibly more ego being awakened, a new form, a combination of all 4. Jura got something bigger planned up his sleeves, or maybe I mentioned this a whole lot back, right? Before we even understood the true nature of the Ten Tails and the Shinju being introduced, that Code was probably doing something to the Ten Tails that brought it back to its originator, brought it back to its progenitor, right? Maybe the Ten Tails is a type of being that derived, or, you know what I'm saying, that birthed Otsutsuki, and Otsutsuki figured out upon making a civilization that, okay, if we keep on doing said, we don't eventually have to, you know, keep on being subservient to this Ten Tails beast, but we can use its power accordingly and then only rely on us to continue to eat, revive, grow powerful, grow stronger, and grow the clan. So something along those lines, somewhere along those lines, but it's an interesting theory. However, with all of that aside, the Shinju, the Otsutsuki, you know what I'm saying, and the Ten Tails, I believe the basis has been pretty much explained pretty well if you ask me, right? But let me know if y'all think I left anything out. Let me know if y'all want to add anything, or what are y'all thoughts on the matter within these 3 species in the Naruto world itself, the Shinju, the Otsutsuki, and the Ten Tails. And how do y'all think everything is about to play out in Two Blue Vortex going forward? It's your boy Black Uchiha. Holla at your mama, holla at y'all. Black Uchiha, yes sir. Ski!
Hey, can we take a trip to the sky? Show them that our limit's too high.
Cocoa butter hips on the waistline. She said